Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dell EMC Networking Tech Talk with OpenManage Network Manager, and this is for OMNM 6.5. This is Bill Acevedo, and today we're going to talk about performance monitors. So generally, when you open the application, these portlets that you see here on the performance page may not be populated with data. These are all driven by some default performance monitors, including the KPI monitors for CPU, the ICMP monitor, as well as the SNMP interface monitor. And so all of these are driven by different monitors, but you do see the data rolling up here in the top end sort of platform. But let's go look at the types of monitors that you can create. Over here in settings, under monitor management, you'll see the resource monitors page, and there is a series of preceded monitors already in the software. Many of them are turned off, and depending on what you want to do will dictate on what you turn on. And so let's just take a quick look here at the types of monitors. Although they're seated, you can also create new monitors based on some of these. And so we have things related to Cisco that can be configured. Now, generally these are still SNMP monitors, but they require specific Cisco configuration on specific Cisco boxes in order to populate the correct MIBs to see data in these monitors. So you need to know what these are for your system in order to start seeing that data. ACLI monitor is an interesting monitor where you can actually run a command against some entity and cause it to return a 0 or 1 value. Is it up? Is it down? It could be a website, could be an FTP server, and then you can monitor that value. Is it up or down? But this is an advanced monitor we'll talk about in another session. So as you can see, there's a whole bunch of monitors here. We can monitor EMC units for your devices for LUNs and ports. Of course, you need those devices to monitor those key metrics. So a variety of things on this list here that you can monitor. The main one we're going to look at today is the default interface monitor. So you'll see that one right here. All the monitors will generally have the same setup with some slight variation. So I'm going to edit this monitor. Now you can copy this. Let me go back here. If you like this monitor and you want to modify it, after you've seen how it works, you want to modify it, you can always copy this monitor in order to maybe make it a subset, or if you want to monitor specific things that aren't in the default. So I'm going to go edit this monitor. And so the first thing you see here is some general options here. You give it a name and obviously the polling interval. And so you can set the interval anywhere from minutes to seconds to hours. And so just be aware that, the more frequently you poll, the higher performance hit you're going to have on your system. And you need to be appropriately sized. That doesn't impact it. And so all that is outlined in the user guide. There's various things about retention policies for how much data you want to retain and how long. You can create your own policies. There's various other more advanced things here, depending on what you want to emit events on, how long you want to retain data. The one monitor that we have called ICMP monitor, it will be doing an update of the network status. And so let me jump out of here real quick before I come back here. On the resources page, you're going to see this column here for network status. This is all driven by the ICMP monitor. Let's go back to this here again. And if I just search for ICMP, we can edit that, and we'll see this monitor is actually updating network status. So that's what updates that column, so you constantly see that response. Let's go back to my default interface monitor. And so you don't want this updating network status. You only want one monitor updating a device's network status. So be careful with that. Otherwise, you'll get, one will say it's up and one could say it's down. If that's getting SNMP and SNMP is up, but ICMP for some reason is down, you'll say one, it'll confuse the network status. So pretty much leave that alone except for the ICMP monitor. Then you can retain that data if you want to, and retain calculated data. You'll see what that means here in a minute. And then some of these are, the number of unreachable attempts before update. And so if we're trying to go out to a device and do an ICMP ping or an SNMP get, we're gonna determine, in this case, three polls before we determine the device isn't reachable, and we report that the device is down or the target's not reachable. So that's what that's for. The other part here is the monitor options is what you want to monitor. By default, This monitor will monitor all devices in the all devices group. Now we'll talk about grouping later, but this is just a way to include all devices. But you can add your own here. You can add explicit devices if you want to, or you can add by group if you have other groups that have been created for specific devices. Again, this is where you might want to create your own group and your own monitor to monitor things separately, but those are here if you need them. For now, we'll just talk about the all devices, and since we're monitoring all top-level devices, but we're monitoring interfaces on all of them. So you have these port and interfaces filters here. So you can modify these filters if you want. We have pre-seeded filters that only look for admin state is up. We exclude fiber channel because that's a little different. And then on the, if it's an interface, we do a similar thing. Administrative state is up. Oh, I'm sorry, go to that other one. Oops. Let me close that real quick and re-edit it. I didn't want to trash that, so let's just go back here again. So we got, you know, the port and the interface. For the interface, its operational state is up. And so you can change that if you want, but we generally don't want to pull things that we know are administratively down or operationally down. What you see down here below are the SNMP attributes that we have seeded as part of this monitor. So we're going to go and monitor all of these attributes on every device that we pull. There's about 28 here. And so sometimes you can't get your data though just from the raw attributes you get from the box. You got to calculate them. So we take any of those attributes that are set there and we give them a letter assignment, and then we have preceded some calculations in here to retrieve other values like bandwidth received and bandwidth per second. Again, you can modify these calculations or even create your own if you want to create your own monitor. It's worth saying that on this prior screen here, if you create your own default SNMP monitor, you can pull in your own SNMP attributes. You don't have to use these. So you can monitor just about anything in any SNMP attribute, and then subsequently calculate any metrics there. Okay, so once you have your monitor set up, you have the ability to do thresholding. And so you'll see here we have some set up for some of the attributes we were already collecting. And what will happen is, I'll edit one of these to show you, you can basically, with a few parameters being set, you can emit notifications based on certain thresholds. For example, if in this case, if bandwidth received is greater than 90%, we're going to emit a critical event. This will show up in your event window. And what we'll talk about later are things like hooking this into our automation framework, where you can email somebody and say, hey, bandwidth has exceeded 80% or 90% on this box. And anyway, you can notify people that way, and as well as take other actions on the network using our automation framework. Those are outside of performance right now. But these will be events that get generated. And so you can create as many as you need to be evented for whatever attributes are being monitored for your monitor. The next part of this here is there's not only thresholds, but there may be conditions that you may want to basically have an event on. So you may want to be alerted. Maybe you want to have a critical alert when something happens. For example, my packet total is greater than some number, and along with that, maybe I want, I'm seeing errors or something. Packets in errors are greater than 500. So you can build up your conditions this way, and then once you save this, when this condition is met on that anything on that one of those interfaces, you're going to emit a critical event. And again, you can email notify somebody, hook that in the automation framework to go do something, back it up, or do something to the interface, reconfigure it, or anything like that. So those are two important things: the thresholds and the conditions that allow you to get specific events based on your monitor's output. Now, on your monitors too, you can also right-click and you can go and view explicit monitor detail. And you can see here it's just a tabular format, and it's basically telling you all of the polling intervals, when it was last polled, and the attributes that you're looking at for values. Now, these attributes, you don't have to look at just those. Depending on the monitor that you're looking at, you can actually pull in different values you want to show on the screen. If you're looking for specific data, and so you'll see some have data, some don't, but you can basically customize this. But this is raw data output, so it might not be really useful. And so what you're probably going to want to do is have more of a dashboard view. But if you did want to export this data to tabular form, you could with the export over here on the upper right. But if you want a more graphical representation of your data, a couple of ways you can do that. As I mentioned before, you can go to your your basic performance page. This is, again, where that performance data is coming from. This is showing the top end. Now you can scroll and get top 10, 25, or whatever you need for these, or you can add different portlets if you think they're getting information through the add applications. If your monitor is getting different information, you can just go in here and find the portlet that maybe you're doing something for jitter or MOS or something else in here that you want to pull data in. You could do that, pull that onto a page of your own. But these are kind of hard coded. They're preceded by us, and so you may want to create your own dashboards. And so there's a couple I want to show you. There's a simple dashboard where we just show you how you create those. Just right click and edit here. And so this is a way to select multiple targets, and then from those targets we automatically show the attributes that are available for you to plot. So there's a whole bunch here because we're monitoring many things. I just picked a couple here for example, but this is a way to monitor many devices with a few attributes, and I'll show you how that looks. Just launch that. So what you're seeing is, again, many devices are pulled into this, and you're seeing them here on the legend. And we only had the two attributes we selected for CPU and memory use, but you're seeing them all plotted on two graphs here in various fashions here. Some of this is very low, it's a lab, so some of this is very low information, but that's the kind of dashboard view you could have. And what you're seeing here too are the thresholds that were set on this particular monitor. For above 80%, we're saying throw a red alarm. Well, you're also seeing this as a graphical representation. So your thresholds will show up here as well in the background. The other type is a custom monitor. Let's just look at one of those. And this one is more flexible in that if you want to see one dashboard with many different things, there's many different types of layouts, and so you can come in here and you can do dial, bar, line graph, whatever you want. And this is where you select an attribute or a monitor that you want to get data from, and the attribute in that monitor, and then the device you want to monitor. And so you can basically just set that here if you want that to be one grid. There's various others here that I have. We're going to do packet in per second, newcast packets, top talkers. This is an interesting one. If you just want to pick a device and you just want to see the top, like for example, of the default interface monitor, I want this if in unicast packets, but I haven't selected any devices. This is going to go out and just pick of all your network devices, just the top ones. And in this case, I've selected just the top 3, but you could choose more. And so it's a way to show top talkers or top N for a given attribute if you want to. Various other things here you can do. Top subcomponents. I pick one device and then I want which subcomponents are the most talkative per bandwidth received, that kind of thing. So you can build up your graph however you want for whatever devices or interfaces, and then once you can launch pop-up on that as well, and you're going to see a variety of different layouts here. And I really just did this for graphical representation here, what a dial looks like, and then another little. This is your packets in per second in a line graph. This is top talkers showing on another graph, and then we've got top subcomponents showing on another type of graph. This is a bar graph, and then I've got a pie chart. So various ways to have these dashboards showing. Along with the normal dashboards, you can do these top talker on this performance monitor dashboard option here. You have the option to set which monitor you actually want it to use. By default, it's going to be top talkers. This one got changed to CPU, but you can go in and pick the one you want to use in here by editing that. Well, that's actually editing that one. But if you want to select a new one, I can go in and select any other monitor that I want to show up on this page. Okay, that's a quick run through on the on performance monitoring at a high level. We'll have further sessions to dive in deeper on how to do some more advanced monitoring, and we'll have those in later sessions. All right, thank you for watching.